Good Tuesday morning. Thank you for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Jason Hackett. Let's get right to your headlines. Grab some extra water on your way out the door this morning. We're in for another dangerously hot day across Minnesota. Rain early this morning, not doing much to cool us down as the heat index is soaring once again today near 100 degrees. We're going to check in with the weather team in just a little bit. But first, we got to show you this brand new video from northern Minnesota showing the power of last night's storms. This is from Mark Hendrickson showing downtown Crosby, Minnesota lighting up from all the lightning. In those flashes, you can see the incredible amount of wind and rain that the storm brought with it. You can see a flag there that is just blowing in the breeze. Crosby, not far from Emily, Minnesota, where there are reports of intense damage from these storms. Thousands are waking up in the dark. Audrey Russo is in Emily with an update.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of damage in this one particular area. This is near Lake Mary in Emily, and you can see behind me, I'm in a person's yard right now, and you can see what happened to their boat. Obviously, their dock pretty chewed up, their pontoon upside down here in their backyard. The homeowners tell me they don't have any power right now. They've got a lot of damage. I'm actually joined now by Ray and Barb. But tell me a little bit about what you heard last night.
Freight train. Sounded just like a freight train coming through, and it didn't last maybe 5 minutes. And then it was pretty much done.
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, people say it sounds like a freight train, and that's exactly what it sounded like. I've never heard a sound like that before. And it was 5 minutes probably when the most of it was over. But,
and
yeah.
You were telling me too that there was it kind of looked like a light show outside. You could see flashes of light. When you walked outside to your front yard, tell me a little bit about what you saw.
Afterwards, just trees. We could look through, the lightning was flashing. It was like a light show. And we could see just flashes of like trees down and uprooted and twisted. And so it was, go find flashlights and see what we can find out. And then we went next door and checked, our neighbors. We kind of all came together, and the guys got their chainsaws out. There were, I don't know how many trees you cut down just trying to get out. So we had access in case there were an emergency to get out. So we cut all that down, and the guys did. And then we just walked through our areas and looked at more damage, trees, and making sure everybody's homes were okay. We've got the guy next door, there's one on the car, and the lady next door, there's one in her garage. So yeah, it'll be a lot of assessing today and cleaning up, but we're all okay.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for your time. And, obviously the road to get to this particular house, as they mentioned, was covered in trees. When we drove through, it looked as though they managed to clean things up pretty quickly. You at least saw a path through some of the down trees, but you can see in their backyard, they've lost a pine tree in their front yard. It's almost visible, like a pathway through their yard where you can see straight line, damaged trees, peeling bark. And then you look over maybe 3 feet away and there's a wind chime that's completely undisturbed. So you can see just how localized these winds can be, how strong they can be, and how they can leave just about everything else pretty much undisturbed. Back to you.
Audrey, thank you. We're also in store for another hot and humid day in the metro. Megan McPherson has more from Minneapolis on the challenges the extreme heat is creating.
There is a nice little breeze out here this morning, but that air still feels very hot and sticky, just as it did yesterday. A little better today, but not by much, at least from the feeling that I'm getting out here this morning. And with that, the Salvation Army is once again opening up cooling centers across the metro for anyone who just needs a place to get inside and feel some air conditioning. There are also lots of public libraries and recreation centers that are open as cooling centers as well. So let's take a look. This map is going to show you where those Salvation Army cooling centers are across the metro. There are several of them, 3 in Minneapolis, 3 in St. Paul, and then 1 in Brooklyn Park. They will be open through the rest of the week. Now, Hennepin and Ramsey counties also offer online maps showing those additional places to cool off. Well, while many of us can head inside to do that, though, outdoor workers and people experiencing homelessness don't always have that option. One construction crew we spoke with says workers are taking extra precautions this week, rotating positions throughout the day.
Well, this equipment's come a long way, so fortunately those 2 in the equipment actually have air conditioner in there, so they're probably doing all right now. But the 2 in the hole right now, they're definitely feeling it the most, so they'll need more frequent breaks coming out of there and rotating with other guys to switch them out.
And of course, we're in Minneapolis this morning, but over in St. Paul at Catholic Charities, they have been out checking the streets, making sure that if there is anybody out there who may be experiencing homelessness that needs to come inside and cool off, that they are able to do so. They also say that this is just a good time when we do have this extreme heat to make sure that you're checking on your friends, your neighbors, make sure everybody is staying safe. Back to you.
Megan, thank you. Right now, we're in the middle of a heat wave impacting millions across the country. And for summer camps, leaders are trying to figure out ways to keep their kids safe and cool while still having fun. The YMCA's Camp St. Croix in Hudson has been around for over 100 years and sees hundreds of kids at a time. An extreme heat advisory didn't force camp activities inside, but it did require staff to make some adjustments here, including plenty more water breaks, water activities, and moving campers into air-conditioned spaces when and if needed. The camp also brings in some staff from outside the U.S.
It's definitely been a struggle just because, for me personally, back home, we're not accustomed to this type of weather, but it's also we're looking after 150 kids, and some of them aren't really accustomed to this weather as well.
The day camp's program director tells us activities would be fully moved indoors. It feels like temperatures reach around 104 degrees. This morning, investigations are underway after a rash of violence in the Twin Cities over the weekend. This map shows all the shootings in Minneapolis and St. Paul since Friday night. In all, 10 people were shot and 1 person killed. The uptick in violence comes less than a month after Minneapolis launched its summer safety plan and just a week before the 4th of July. Touch Outreach, a violence prevention group, tells us summer is always busy for them, but they want everyone to be involved to stop the violence.
If there's one group or one system that can help stop all of this, I would love to be a part of it. I would like to know who it is. We have to trust each other in order to share that information that's needed to be able to get to the root cause so we can de-escalate and mediate some of these conflicts before they turn deadly.
Touch Outreach works on stepping in before potential problems pop up by being out in the community. Abdullah Had says they help calm people down and work on getting them any help they may need. In a pair of new rulings, the Supreme Court narrowed and expanded the president's power to fire members of an independent federal agency. The president's party also lost a case it hoped would make it harder to accept mail-in ballots after Election Day. NBC's Alice Barr has the very latest from Washington.
Hi there. The High Court justices issued a series of consequential rulings on Monday, but left until their final day today, perhaps the most controversial, on a key priority for President Trump's immigration agenda. All eyes on the Supreme Court today, where justices are set to rule in a highly anticipated case, determining whether children born in the United States to undocumented immigrants are still entitled to birthright citizenship.
It's tremendously destructive. It's extremely costly.
In a day one priority, President Trump signed an executive order limiting that automatic citizenship long enshrined in the Constitution's 14th Amendment to people with at least one parent who is a U.S. citizen or permanent resident. The order was immediately blocked and appealed up to the Supreme Court.
Birthright citizenship is foundational to who we are as a country.
In a series of high-profile rulings Monday, the court's conservative majority handed the president more power over independent federal agencies, with a decision that he can fire Federal Trade Commission member Rebecca Slaughter, finding that a 90-year-old precedent establishing members could only be fired for cause to guard against political pressure unconstitutionally restricts executive authority.
It gives a president the right to do what the president should have the right to do.
It hands a massive amount of power away from Congress and to the president to shape economic decision making.
President Trump has made sweeping moves this term to fire federal workers, but in a separate case, the justices ruled he cannot remove Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook, at least for now, carving out an exception for the Fed, which sets interest rates based on the tradition of protecting central banking from political interference. The Supreme Court also ruled on Monday that elections officials in Mississippi can still count mail-in ballots that arrive up to 5 days after Election Day, as long as they're postmarked by the date. President Trump slammed that ruling that rejects a challenge from the Republican National Committee and could have major implications for other states ahead of the midterms. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
This morning, a recovery mission is underway for a missing Marine from Minnesota. Armando Ortiz Canseco went missing during a training mission off the coast of California last week. Right now, it's still not clear how he became lost at sea. Officials say so far they've searched about 2,400 square miles of water. Armando's family tells us he loved being a Marine. The last time they say they talked to him, he said he was looking forward to coming home soon.
There is such deep sorrow and anxiety, questioning for where her son is. It's been challenging to work with the military. They have very few really concrete answers.
In a statement yesterday, the Marines said their thoughts and prayers are with the family during this difficult time. Ahead of the 4th of July holiday, the Minnesota DNR and other agencies are launching Operation Dry Water, the national campaign aimed at targeting boating under the influence. The goal here is to reduce the number of BWI-related boating accidents between July 3rd and 5th. Stick with us. More news and weather coming up right after the break.